Gentlemen and ladies, welcome back to the channel. Before we get into it, I want to say thank you for being here. The support means a lot to me, and although the content you see can always improve and be better, I appreciate you sticking around even when there's nothing interesting happening. After I found this village, I was planning on going back into the mines and getting more diamonds. My original goal for this video was to get at least a full set of diamond tools and armor. However, I ultimately decided against it because I don't want it to get repetitive. Don't get me wrong, I love mining, but Minecraft has plenty of objectives, plenty of things to do, and exploring them all at a natural pace is a better alternative than going mining the first 5 videos. So, today, we are building a house. Now, building a house is one of the things I'm not very good at. I guess building in general is not something that I'm good at, so this should be a chance to improve upon the skills and refine them. But it's going to be torture, because I'm a perfectionist by heart, and that means I pay too much attention to the little details. And if things aren't just right, it doesn't sit right with me. However, as I said, it should be a chance to improve upon my building skills, so there is that to think about and consider. And let's just go with the flow and see what happens. Now, before the video started, I actually went and looked for some spruce wood. One of the things that I couldn't decide was what materials to build out of, and I still can't decide, so I'm gonna have to try out a few things. But one of the things I ultimately decided upon was I wanted wood in the building. Whatever I'm building, whether it's a mountainside house or if it's a house out in the open, or if I dig into a mountain or something, whatever it is, I just wanted some type of wood. Oak didn't just sit right with me. Birch was too common, for example, stuff like that. Jungle was too rare. It was also pink. And, the thing that made the most sense for me personally was spruce. So I traveled around about 1,000 blocks, and this is before the video started. I traveled 1,000 blocks, managed to come across a snowy mountain biome, something like that, and then there were a bunch of spruce trees. I mined out a bunch of them, I cut down a bunch of them, and then I brought some saplings home, just in case I need more. But I have around about 3 stacks. I think I'm not going to need more, but should I actually need more, I do have the saplings, just in case. And I always prepare beforehand, so it's not a problem. It's not going to be a big deal should I need more, because I don't know how big this base that I'm going to build is going to be. So it's best to be safe than sorry. That's something I always say. Now, I already have the location picked out. I wanted somewhere close to the village because, well, first of all, the village was quite difficult to find. I don't intend to lose it again, nor do I intend to travel 1,000 blocks whenever I need a trade with villagers. So I decided to build here in this mountain range, and I think overlooking this beautiful kind of little river or lake or whatever you want to call it would be a nice view. And I figured I would dig into the mountain. Now, first of all, we need to kind of set up a base of operations, get a few furnaces going, and dig out a bit of the extra mountain, because we want a flat area and we don't want, a bunch of dirt blocks kind of protruding outwards. So what we're going to do is kind of flatten the side of the mountain so that the build makes sense. I had this idea of a circular kind of window and then a small door to the side of it. And you don't know the vision yet, but trust the process. I think it'll look pretty good. Now, I do need to remove this layer from the mountain as well, because it sticks out, and in order to pull off the vision that I have in my head, I need to remove this layer, because, as I said, the circular window thing would look good on a flat mountainside. And that's that. Now onto the window shape, or I guess it will fit. I guess I don't need too big of a window, because we also do have to kind of worry about the ceiling of the house. If I make the window too big, I might have to kind of do some terraforming over the mountain to hide the roof. But I was thinking we could have the door kind of right next to it, right where I started digging, and my terraforming isn't exactly, I guess, admirable. It's not good by any means, but I'll give it a try. And I'll probably turn all the stone into dirt once we're done with it, because stone and dirt, it just kind of doesn't look right. It doesn't look like a proper mountain. But yeah, we'll turn the stone into dirt once we're done with whatever we're trying to build. However, I think the area that we cleared does look good. I think it looks decent. Alright, so I built myself a platform as a kind of a base of operations, and these furnaces are going to do three things. One, convert the extra wood that I have laying around into charcoal, because we don't have coal, and if I decided to go mining for it, it would take too long. And two, it would melt the sand into glass. And three, once we have stone, and once we actually kind of decide what materials we're using, I think I wanted to also use stone, or at least stone bricks, somehow in some way, shape, or form. So it's going to convert cobblestone into stone, and then we're going to craft that into stone bricks. I think it'll look good. I also want the entrance to be somewhat fancy. Now, we're not making the entrance, or we're not making anything just yet. We're just kind of digging out the outlines into the base and how we want them to be, and how I want the corridors to be, how many rooms I want, and so on. We're just kind of starting to plan that. And then afterwards, we're going to start building. But I want an entrance that's kind of taken out of a fantasy book or something. Or like in the style of Elden Ring, basically, if you've ever played that. I want something like that. And we're not going to go overboard with it, but a little sprinkle of fantasy, I think, would look pretty good on this base. Now on to the shape of the window. I'm not exactly sure how big or small I want it to be, but I think a good starting point would be one block higher than where the floor is, because I'm going to remove the platform that we're standing on. I'm not going to keep it. And I think a shape somewhat resembling this should look good. Now, let me do this side. I think you'll get the full picture then. But yeah, something like that. So I think it will look good. That obviously gives us a 3x3 area, and I kind of wanted the main room, or I guess where the window is, to kind of follow in the shape of the window itself. So a 3x3 room all the way. And man, look at that view. I think once we're done with the build, every time it becomes sunset, I'm probably going to run as fast as I can to get to the window and to just stare at that sunset, because this is one of the best views in the game, and I didn't even choose it on purpose. I didn't choose the direction that the window was going to face on purpose, but now that I see that it's going to be a direction that faces the sunset, I'm pretty happy with it. I genuinely am. Okay, it's starting to take shape, and although it doesn't look like much, I think you're starting to see the vision that I'm going for. Now, one of the things I unfortunately can't decide upon just yet is where I want the entrance to be. Because we have this door here, and obviously we want an entrance into the main room, which is this one. Do I don't know, do it at the very end of the corridor, or do I do it at the very beginning? That's kind of something we're going to have to decide, but for now, I'm going for the end of the corridor, because instead of having doorways, I suppose we can have room for other stuff, like chests or furnaces or whatever else that I'm planning to put inside of the main room. So let's go for the end of the corridor and see what happens. Now, the main trick, or I guess the main cheat code for pulling off circular shapes, is stairs. And if the mobs let me, I'm going to actually finish the build and show you what I mean. But the main trick is stairs and slabs, because they have this kind of diagonal kind of shape, which makes them look somewhat circular. Now, I do have inspiration for circular shapes from Pinterest. So Pinterest is basically the thing I'm trying to follow, but I don't know, I'm just going to have to play around with it, because definitely the shape is going to go through some differences. It's not going to stay the same. I might even change the blocks. I might not like spruce, so I might just switch it to oak or something. I don't know. But yeah, we're going to have to play around with it, see what actually fits and what actually looks good. Now, after a bit of playing around and testing, this is the rough shape of the whole thing. I don't exactly like it. I mean, at the end of it, it's not actually going to look like a circle. It might look like an oval or an eye shape or something like that because, I don't know, either the shape that I dug out just doesn't look good on a wall, or I can't build proper circles because I said I have inspiration, but I'm not trying to copy the exact build that I saw on Pinterest. So, I don't know, I'm gonna have to play around more, and I think that's the tricky part about building is trying to figure out exactly what you want because, as I said, I am a perfectionist. I do try my absolute hardest to make things just right, and that kind of bothers me, I guess. I mean, here we are experimenting with so many things. Not a whole lot gets done, and or if suppose a lot of tasks were to be done, it would take a long time because I'm a perfectionist. So it's going to be tough to handle, but we're going to play around and see what actually fits. Okay, so I criticized the oval shape, but I think it actually looks good. And I I am surprised because of my perfectionist nature because I did say I don't like it, and now that I see I like it, I guess I kind of judged it too quickly or something because it does look good. I think it looks pretty good with the shape or the vision that I'm trying to go for. So we're going to complete it, see what the end result looks like, and what the hell is going on? It's broad daylight, my friend. I have no words. I have no words. I shouldn't be surprised. I mean, this kind of thing happens to everybody. I shouldn't be surprised whatsoever. The funny thing about building with stairs is you actually have to kind of wiggle around so many times. But yeah, with the dirt hole patched up and the shape completed, this is the final result. And I actually kind of like it. Contrary to what kind of nature that I have, I said I wouldn't like it, and it does kind of resemble an eye shape. I think if we kind of pushed out the corners of the sides a little bit, it would look like an eye shape, but we weren't really going for a 100% eye shape, and I think the oval looks pretty good. I think it would work out with the design that I'm trying to go for. It would make sense. I also just realized I'm at half a heart. I don't even know when that happened, but I think after the creeper explosion, after I was building, I think I decided to take some fall damage, and that's when it brought me down to half a heart. But good thing I didn't die because I was actually saving up the experience points for something, and I'm not going to reveal just yet what it is, but yeah, I was saving it up, so it's a good thing that I didn't die. Now, the window shape was actually quite different to what I had in mind. It did force an increase in size, which I'm not complaining about because it's in a mountain. Of course, we can increase the size as much as we want, but it just kind of did force a bit of a difference, and that means more use of materials, and it's going to be more time consuming and so on. But yeah, the shape being different than what I originally planned did kind of bring about unexpected consequences. And one of the problems I have, and I just noticed this, is the gap in between the stairs, and they're visible at the bottom, and there it is, you can see one right there. If I were to place dirt blocks behind the stairs, that would mean I would have to place the actual wall of the building much closer, which means a smaller room. And now that I have a taste for a larger room, I don't quite want to do that. If I were to place wood behind it, from the outside it wouldn't look like an eye shape or an oval shape anymore. Rather, it would look slightly more squared. So that's kind of a problem that I have to figure out now, and I don't exactly know what to do. Oh no, there's another problem. I'm going to have to do some terraforming at the top of the mountain because, unfortunately, the shape actually got too big, and what I feared actually came true. So there's that I have to worry about, then there's the room shape, then there's the walls that I have to figure out. So many problems just rose out of nowhere. Okay, that is something that looks straight out of real life. I mean, look at the shadows, look at the details, everything. Oh, man. Look at that sunset. And that's exactly the view I was talking about earlier, and as I said, whatever I'm doing, I'm gonna rush back home exactly right here to see the sunset before it goes down. Of course, I'm gonna remove the platform that we're standing on right now. We're gonna make it look better, and I'm probably gonna add some decorations. I'm gonna add some plants and so on. Of course, I have a bunch of plans for this place. It's not just gonna be a build, and that's it. We're gonna do some decorations. We're gonna do a lot of things actually, and I figured for the gaps in between the stairs, or I guess in between the stairs and the blocks, I would use wood because, first of all, I kind of tried it and it didn't look that obvious. It didn't stick out too much. So we're going to do some wood. Now, of course, that means I'm going to have to figure out what I want for the walls and for the roof and for the floor. So let's go and experiment. Let's see what actually looks good. At this point, I'm not even sad about the damages. I can repair the damages, but what I can't repair is my faith in this game, because it sends me creepers in the most awkward situations ever. And that's the floor. It looks pretty good, actually. I'd say it looks awesome. And the final result, gentlemen and ladies, I think it looks good, and I'm actually quite proud of myself. It looks great, but it kind of looks like it's also missing something at the same time. I mean, I don't know. Maybe if I apply the same design from the outside, because we have some stairs and trapdoors, maybe if I do that on the inside as well, it will look different. I don't know, though. Let's give it a try. I think we could all agree that that in and of itself looks 10 times better than what it used to. That is what I'm talking about. There are places in life that we leave behind. Old houses, old schools, old friends, and then there are places that somehow stay with us. For me, one of those places is Minecraft. It sounds strange, doesn't it? How can a world made of blocks, a game with square trees and silent villages, ever feel like home? But somehow it does. Maybe it's because home was never about walls. Maybe it was always about feelings. Because after a difficult day, when the world feels too loud, when responsibilities grow heavier, and when life asks more from us than we feel ready to give, there's something comforting about hearing that familiar music. Something peaceful about watching the sun rise over a world you've known for years. About opening the door to a little wooden house you built with your own hands. Nothing asks anything from you. The mountains don't judge you, the oceans don't rush you, and the stars above your world shine with the same quiet beauty they always have. Perhaps that's why so many of us return. Not because we're chasing diamonds, not because we're here to slay the Ender Dragon once again, but because in some strange way, we're coming home. To the world where memories were made, to the songs that remind us of simpler days. And maybe that's the magic of Minecraft. It gives us somewhere to belong. And perhaps that's what home truly is.